I'm going to show you 7 strength exercises designed to make you feel stronger, improve your mobility, and boost your surfing performance. My aim with this video is simple. Demonstrate how to develop functional strength that supports your surfing instead of hindering it. Teach you exercises that connect your body and give you more flow and balance, and reducing the risk of injuries, keeping you in the water longer and more often. The good news is there's no need to spend hours in the gym, just 30 minutes a day, 3 times a week to keep you strong and ready for when the waves are firing. Today, we'll go over 7 foundational strength exercises for surfers of all levels. Once mastered, they unlock progressions that keep your movement and surfing improving. Let's get into it. First up is the Goblet Squat. Now, I love the Goblet Squat for many reasons, but the main 2 are you don't need a lot of equipment. Today, I'm using a dumbbell. You can use a kettlebell as well. We're going to talk about our technique setup. So first of all, we want to make sure our feet are in the right position. Shoulder width, or even just a little wider than shoulder width, is fine. We want to slightly turn the feet out just a little bit. If you think about a clock, 1 o'clock and 11 o'clock with our toes pointing in those directions, that's good. Now when we squat, we want to make sure when we drop the hips that we're breaking at the hips and the knees at the same time. The knees flare over the toes, nice and wide, so our hips can drop down nice and straight, and then we come up with good tempo. Okay, I'll do another rep, keeping the chest up nice and tall. Now, one of the most important technical parts of a front squat or a goblet squat is making sure that we brace our belly and keep our shoulders nice and tall. The weight that we're holding wants to round our shoulders and collapse us through our thoracic spine. So really important that we stay nice and tall and brace our core. One of the really cool parts about a goblet squat is it really teaches us to brace our belly when we squat. To maneuver through tricky sections when we're on a board, it requires us to be strong through our torso. So bracing our core through a goblet squat really helps practice that skill and builds that strength for us to be able to have more control, more stability on our board. So a quick recap of the goblet squat. It helps us build leg drive for bottom turns and stability. We can scale it from beginner to advanced by adding more weight or progressing to a front squat. The ideal rep range is 3 sets, anywhere between 6 to 10 reps. Next up is the pull-up. There is no greater exercise to improve your paddle strength than a pull-up. I'm going to go through some really basic technique. The first thing is the different hand grips. Now you can see on the bar that I'm using, there's multiple hand grips. I think a variety of different options is good to vary your training when you're doing pull-ups. Close, wide neutral, over the hand, you can even do underhand grip. But for paddle strength, my opinion, having that overhand grip is going to be beneficial to develop that lat strength. So we want to go from a full hang all the way up, chin above the bar, nice and controlled on the way down. A pull-up is not that technical, but the key is to make sure that we avoid kipping the body so we can really engage those lats as much as we can, build the strength that we need for paddling. Now, not everybody has the strength to do a pull-up. Don't worry, we do have regressions. A really good option is called a negative or eccentric pull-up. How we execute that is we're gonna jump, so use our legs to jump above the bar, and then we're gonna control the eccentric phase, the downward phase of the pull-up. So I'll demonstrate that again. We jump using our legs and then control on the way down. So we're only using our lats on the eccentric phase, as I said, the downward phase. A really good way to regress pull-ups, build the strength to eventually progress to full pull-ups. A quick recap with our pull-ups: increases our paddle strength so we can catch more waves, easy to regress with the eccentric or negative pull-ups, and also if you want to progress the movement, we can add weight by using a weight belt, adding weight to the belt. 3 sets, anywhere between 6 and 10 reps is optimal for strength gains. Next movement is Swiss ball plate rotation. So obviously we need a Swiss ball, also a plate. I'd recommend starting light. So today I've got a 10 kg plate. I've done this movement plenty of times before. I want to go through some really basic techniques. So the first thing we want to do is pick the plate up, place it on our knees, close to our chest. We're going to shuffle forward so that we're lined with our shoulders back in the middle of the Swiss ball. So getting ourselves into this position can take a little bit of getting used to. From there, we're going to extend the arms long. And from that position there, we're going to slowly rotate the plate to one side of the body with our shoulders rolling on top of the Swiss ball. We come back up to the middle and then shift our weight to the other side. So really good for rotational strength. What I love about this movement, it connects the lower body and the upper body together through rotational movement. It really requires us to stay nice and connected through our torso, and just a really nice movement to build that rotational strength that we need for surfing, and add a little bit of fluidity and connection through our torso for powerful turns. Swiss ball plate rotations are great for building rotational strength to give us more control, more power through our turns. They link the upper and lower body together to give us more connection through our movement. Easy to regress by removing the weight and just using your hands, or progress the movement by adding more weight to make the movement more challenging. 3 sets, 10 to 16 reps. Next up is the lateral lunge. I love this movement because it works through the frontal plane. So we're going to step sideways, nice and wide. We want to try and keep the foot nice and straight, so not too flared out with the toes or with the knee. And then when we drop down, we're trying to drive this knee a little wide. And as you load the right leg up, you'll feel the length through the opposite leg, through the adductors, through the groin muscles. We come back up nice and strong, and then we start again. So try to be really consistent with the distance that we step into. Nice and controlled when we drop down through the knee, and then nice tempo coming back up. The key with this movement is making sure that we try not to round the shoulders when we drop into that lateral lunge. Requires us to brace our belly, stay nice and tall through our posture, and come down with good tempo. And as I said, really challenging the range of motion through the opposite leg while we load the leg that we're stepping out into. Lateral lunges, perfect for building strength through the frontal plane, increases the range of motion through our adductors, and great for building stability through those awkward sections to give us more power and more flow. 3 sets, 6 to 8 reps on each leg. Coming in at number 5 are dive bomb push-ups. Now just a warning, this is a challenging movement. It's easy to regress into a standard push-up, but once we can master the dive bomb push-up, really opens us up to developing some really good strength through our upper body, but also flow and connection through our body. I'm going to demonstrate. So we'll take our feet shoulder width behind us. Hands are going to come up a little bit closer than they normally would be for a push-up position, and want to bum up in the air. We're going to take our heads directly towards the ground. As we drop the chest in, we're going to slowly start to peel the chest up off the ground, drive the hips towards the floor. Now this is the challenging part here. We're going to try and track that same motion, but in reverse. We come back, under, through, and push back up. So I'm going to do it one more time. We drop low, we scoop through, try to keep the body up off the ground, finish with the chest nice and high, hips towards the ground, and then again, coming back in reverse, pushing back up through. So it really encourages a lot of connection, a lot of stability through the body, and ultimately a lot of upper body strength just to execute that movement. Dive bomb push-ups are great for building upper body strength, which will help with your push-ups, your duck dives. It's an easy movement to regress, taking it back to push-ups either off your knees or off your toes. Once you master the push-up, then progress to the dive bomb push-ups. 3 sets, 6 to 8 reps. Next up we have gorilla rows. Gotta say, one of my favorite full body movements. It really does work the entire body. Let's get into it. So we're gonna set our feet up. We're pretty much gonna take our feet on the sides of the kettlebells. So I've got 2 kettlebells set up between my legs. The handles are facing straight up and down the same direction as my feet. From here, I'm gonna hinge at the hips. So I'm gonna load those hips back and behind so my chest comes straight down over top of the kettlebells. So when I take my hands down, they're pretty much directly right on top of the handles. From there, I'm gonna grab both handles, nice and flat through the lower back is key. I've got a strong core. I'm gonna row one arm at a time. Now, as I'm rowing, I'm gonna add a little rotation. Now, you can do both variations here. You can row without a rotation, or today we're gonna add a little rotation. I like this variation to add that little twist as we alternate from side to side. And as you progress through this movement, you're gonna feel a good load through the legs. So when I say a full body, you get the legs loaded from holding yourself in that position. You're using your core to facilitate the rotation, add stability through the core as well. But then obviously our back muscles and our bicep muscles, using those to pull the kettlebell up towards the chest. So a great full body exercise. Couple of keys, just making sure we stay nice and flat through that lower back, nice and strong with our knees wide, and really work hard to stay in good shape throughout this movement. Gorilla rows are the perfect full body exercises for surfers. They target the lower body, the core, and the upper back. An easy movement from beginners to advanced. It's easy to regress by not going quite as deep and just finding your range over time, or progress the movement by adding weight in a goblet position to challenge the load through your hips. 3 sets, 6 to 8 reps on each side. And our last movement is the Paloff Press. So we need a band. We're gonna set the band up at about chest height, okay? Once we've looped the band, we're gonna step away from where it's anchored and get our feet into just a little wider than shoulder width. Once our feet are there, we're gonna soften the knees, tuck the hips slightly up and in, just a little bit of a neutral position, but making sure that our hips and our rib cage is connected, bringing the band or the hands right to the middle of the chest, and we're gonna feel that resistance down the left side of the body, working really hard to keep our shape. We're not turning the knees in, we're not shifting the weight just because the band's pulling us in. We're really starting to resist that load. Now from here, this is where the movement gets tricky. We're gonna extend the arms out, full extension, feel all that tension pulling us back in that direction there, but we're gonna work hard to resist it and come all the way back in. Once our hands get back to the middle, we're gonna reset with a big inhale. We hold our breath, extend the arms out again, exhale and come back in. So again, I love this movement because it really teaches bracing the core and resisting that rotational pull that the band's clearly trying to pull us in. And at the same time, making sure that our lower body is staying nice and connected up through our hips into our torso, and it really connects our lower and upper body together, which for surfing is really gonna help with our balance and stability. The Paloff Press is a great exercise for strengthening the core. It ties the upper and lower body together, which creates connection, perfect for surfers, gives us more stability and balance on the board. Easy movement for all levels, from beginners to advanced, to make it more challenging, increase the resistance in the band. 3 sets, 6 to 8 reps on each side. So there you have it, 7 exercises all surfers should do. Add them to your weekly workout or run all 7 as a circuit.